It doesn't work out. Hashem has something else in store for me.
It goes without saying. Okay.
But it's gonna be very
We're recording now, so it's not
Actually.
let's so we're learning the Likutey Moharan term and taste. These are the things that Rabbeinu said that the mahalach of the chalapanu in the heart, keeping good thoughts in and bad thoughts out, elevating the malchus, and therefore elevating the bina. It's something that happens on the chasana. The chasana is a hay. We already said that the hay is a daled with a yud inside it. That's how it is. This is how it is constructed. So Rabbeinu says also v'zeh Shabbos. Probably this is what they were crying Shabbos on the chasana. Shaladei, when you elevate the Shabbos, like in Oinik Shabbos. Oinik Shabbos says this is le'oraiso de'atika canal, as we said before. So Torah of Atik, the Torah of Atik is the Torah that we will learn in the future. We will discover also love it. Kivaraisa shalachshav, and the fact that in the chasana, apparently from what is said here, that when they used to call out Shabbos, they would give money. So I'm going to explain that in Al Pisod, there's a secret in this. Kivaraisa shalachshav, in the Torah that we'll learn now, which is the Torah of Tes Sharei Bina. That's the Torah of the Malak Olam. That's of Olam Hazan. Yesh Yamin B'Smol. There is a right and a left. As we said in Mishlei, Or Chaim B'Yamino, there is longevity in the right side. And in the left, there is wealth and honor. Aval batiko, but when you get to atiko, which is beyond, it's a sphere saketa, which is above all the spheres. Leis small, v'leis oshatamon. There is no left and there is no wealth there, because the wealth comes from the bechina of small in the Torah, which is the judgments, it's the dinim. Sphere saketa, there's no dinim whatsoever. Over there is only rachamim, chasodim, gmurim. The spheres, it's only from sphere sabina. This is when the judgments start. When Am Yisrael hear the Besorah of the Torah of beyond time, they give the money away. Can't because they don't need the money. There's no eating, there's no drinking. In other words, when in a wedding, during when somebody does so, there is a bechina of ma'ain olam haba that is happening here. You can say, I mean, we have it every Shabbos. Every Shabbos is ma'ain olam haba. It's bechina of olam haba. It's olam haba of olam hazeh. Even the achila, the shtia, usually during the week we eat and we drink. This is the avodah of birurim. This is the avodah of sifting the good from the bad. The good gets elevated, gives you life. The bad is, is discarded. By the Shabbos, Achil Shabbos is Kula Kodesh. Because the noiga, which is the that area that you work on during the week. That's the area of the Birurim. Noiga is everything that is allowed. Kedusha is everything that is a mitzvah. Tuma is everything which is forbidden. In between them, there is the pitch where the game is taking place, where the work is taking place, which is klipas noiga. It's called klipa because it's a klipa. On the other hand, there's noiga. There's light in it. It's good and bad. And all the things that we do, everything which is mutter, everything which is allowed, is from the spiritual. So this is what happens during the week. You do business, you do it, you do it, whatever it is that you go through, everything is done. This is how you make the birurim. Depends on what kind of kavanah you do it. If you eat in order to scarf the Kadosh Baruch Hu, then it takes, it elevates the good to the kedusha, and the bad falls off. If Chas v'Chalila people eat for taivas and whatever it is, so it takes the good and brings it down to the klippos. Or on Shabbos, everything gets, the noiga itself gets elevated into the kedusha. That's why eating on Shabbos is kula kodesh, as Rabbeinu says in Torah Taste. So, but the thing that is so important for us to internalize when we learn this is that everything that happens to us, everything that we do, definitely all the Jewish minhagim, of course, the halachas, even the minhagim. And okay, so that's what people do that. And, that's secrets in that. There are very, very deep secrets in that. And everything that you do. In the morning, you get up, you go to shul, you do this, you do that, you get up to Torah, whatever, all the minhagim, whatever it is, when somebody comes to Torah and has a son or daughter, they sing. They say this in every single thing that a Jew does, because a Jew is not a goy. A Jew is not somebody who just exists. There's deep secrets to every single movement, every single nagia of a Jew. So in a chasana, they're calling out Shabbos, that's an oinik Shabbos of the Torah Atikas Timah. Immediately they give money. They give money is because they don't know why they give the money. But the neshama knows. Because in that they are zoichet to a time of the keser of Torah Atika, at which time, in Olam Haba, there's no eating and drinking, so there's no need for money. This is called amal ha'adam apir. Everything the person does is just for eating, so it's the Perush Rabbeinu, as it says in Tehillim, Malchei Tzvakos, Yedudun, Vasbais Techalek Shal. I'm wondering what he says over here. What is this is the Malachim, Hainu Tzadikim. Malchei Tzvakos, these are the Tzadikim. Shem Malachav Gibur Kech, these are the angels of mighty strength. Shemedadim b'merutza of mehirus, that they skip, they run at great speed, kadin lorotz orach, in order to be able to do that which they weren't able to do before. This is the dancing in the chasana. The dancing in the chasana is, skipping, is that quick walking, that the tzaddikim are walking quickly to cover up for all the time that I'm sure we're not the way it's supposed to be. Therefore, the asar of the tzaddikim were hidden as well. In other words, and the wife of the house will distribute, the bounty. Yisrael, this is where Am Yisrael, they give away the money. To show that there's no need for money. Sham, in the Pchina of Atika, there is no left. And this you can find a remez Rabbeinu says that his Torah, obviously we see that we're talking about extremely exalted inyanim. Rabbeinu says here that Vas Ba is the Chalek Shalom, Rosh Hashanah is Shabbos. They're talking about this inyan of Shabbos. The giving of the gelt is done when people feel to serve the Torah, Pchinas Atik, Pchinas Enik Shabbos. Now, inyan Ach, Rabbeinu says there's also another reason why people give money during Chasana when they call like this. Vatronos Godol Bezeh Shebchalkim Nos, to show great, Vatronos when you give money, to show that the Kala, he Bechinas Hey, the Kala is a Malchus, and is Hey, in other words, Midalet Nasas Hey. She is complete, she's the way it's supposed to be, that she can get married. You're Megal, the second the Malchus, you're elevated, and from Dalet you make a Hey. So there's about Shiras Godol. This brings about great wealth. All this, of course, is Simon Tevin. About Hashem will be the schus of our Hirschman Liva Chava. About Hashem, Shavat Sloch B'Chol Ha'inyonim. There's about Shiras Godol. This great Shiras comes from that. V'Chinas v'Yikos Elechem Bracha Ad B'Li Dai. And I will pour upon you bracha ad bli dai. What's ad bli dai? Ad bli dai, until there'll be no dai. We know enough. What do you mean not enough? So Chazal said, that your lips will wither from saying, okay, enough, dai, I have enough. Because the hay, as we said, is constructed of dalad and a yud. And the dalad and yud, what does dalad and yud make together? It makes a hay. Dai is dalad and yud. You put the yud inside the dalad, from the dalad you make a hay. This is bracha ad bli dai. This is when you give the money to show that you got to that such a bracha that the money doesn't matter to you. Money is no object anymore. As we said before, in the pasuk, Siris is now. Before we talked about the Siris, this is the Yud, Chochma, now Rabbeinu uses it to show no Siris Shiras. I'm sorry about the Shiras that comes. The Paparot says also that a Siris is on the left. When you put the shin, you put the pintale on the left side. Siris Saifa. A Shiras, the pintale is on the right side of the shin. Sometimes they get switched. And Shu Bivchinas Eife. Where's the mouth? Asira Eife. Where? And we already said that Eife makes out of two words of where is the mouth? I know Shibala Piem Eloimadai, that their mouth withered from saying enough. They have so much wealth. It's because Shana Samir Visaim Me'adaled Hey. From the Daled, it becomes a Hekanah. Because you're connecting the whole thing together. By the way, so that said, when you say that that the lips will wither from saying die enough. So it was said that how can you say that? Because when you say the word die, the lips are not being used. The die, the lips are not used. So why will they, be wasted if you say die? You never use the lips. That will be fresh. They're moving, but you're not bet and mem. You're not really using it. It's just die. You just open your mouth a little bit. Anyhow, so they say that's what muscle atrophies. Muscle you don't use. But they say die for so long, not using the lips, that they will wither, that they will atrophy. That's okay. It's not just that. It also says, Simen Lamed Beis Ad Kan Kol Zehu L'Shon Rabbeinu Zechon L'Gocha. לבד מאיזה מקומות שישבתי שם קצת דבורים, כפי שמה שמעתי והבנתי מפיו הקודש, על פי כוסבוי, כנראה שם כל אחד ממקומו. Now, Nosson puts a few more details that he heard and negate to this particular Gevaldige Tveil. Chazal said, "Haroitze sheinaseach yain al gebe mizbeach." Anybody that wants to pour, to be considered that he is pouring wine on the mizbeach, yimale greinom shel talmidei chachamim. Fill up the throats of talmidei chachamim. In other words, feed them and give them wine to drink. As we said before, ki ikar l'kulsu balev. The godliness, where does a person feel godliness? It's in the heart. Because the mind of a person cannot grasp Hashem in his mind. Because the mind is limited. What you can, you can. What you can't, you can't. Mind is a very limited, cold instrument. But the heart, there's no limit to the heart. So the main, the Likus resides in the heart. As we said, the Ein Tzur Kelokenu. So Chazal said, En Tzayar Kelokenu. Don't read it Tzur, just a rock. But En Tzayar, there's no painter like Hashem. Baal Shem Tov said, what's the pshat? Why does the Medrash says in Masechet Boros, the Gemara, En Tzur Kelokenu, that the pasuk says, listen, there's nobody that can be leaned on and trusted like Hashem. Hashem is our rock. That's good enough. So why does the Gemara have to say En Tzayar Kelokenu? There's no painter like Kadosh Baruch. Tzayar is a painter. It's the same, almost the same letters. It says, when a good painter paints an apple, it looks like a real apple. Until you come very, very close. You touch it, and you realize it's a painted apple. You know, it's not a real apple, but it's such a gewaldige painting that unless you come close and touch it, you don't realize that it's just a painted apple. You can't. Sometimes the paintings are so unbelievably good that you feel like you can put your hand into painting and take out the fruit from there. But if you try, you see you're just, hitting a flat surface. Because when he paints an apple, not only you can touch it, you can bite it, and it has a taste, and it has a smell, and it has nourishment. Says nobody can paint like that as well. He's a painter. That whatever that he paints is complete. It's a complete metzius. It's not just a facsimile. No, like a Kodesh Baruch Hu has painted his tzur, the tzur of a person, the form of a person, and put in it ruach and shama and innards and organs. And this remez, Kodesh Baruch Hu did the same thing to all the ornaments. He painted, he designed everything. He created all the ornaments. The very same way Kodesh Baruch Hu has created and formed all the ornaments that include in them all the 7 midos. Right? The heart of a person that has godliness in it is also it's painting, it's creating, it's forming the midos in the heart. The heart is the painter, is the former, is forms the midos. As we said before, you have to be very careful not to think, bad thoughts. And this is how, when a person thinks good thoughts, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. I don't necessarily know what will be. I don't know what will be, what will not be. I have no idea. but I know everything's going to be okay. So that's called a good thought. That's called a good thought. So before creation, Kadosh Baruch Hu was infinity, was without boundaries. Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kivyachu's mitzamtzem, his godliness, and Chol Hapanoi. In the Chol Hapanoi, he made all the oilamis. Same way a person has to be mitzamtzem his excitement, his drive, which is endless. And when he is holding back from running out wild, makes a Chol Hapanoi in the heart. Then it's called V'libi Chalol B'kirbi. Many times a person can say, I don't have a problem with Ribui Or. I have a problem getting up in the morning. I have a problem davening. I don't have a problem of controlling my excitement around HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I don't have that problem. Maybe some tzaddik in there. I don't have that. But the truth is, that's not the situation at all. The fact that a person is lazy in his avodas Hashem, in his davening, in his learning, in whatever it is not because he's in the dark. Because Ribui Or. What is it? What does it mean, Ribui Or?
It's hard to do the Torah mitzvahs.
Just a second. I find the thing that makes it hard is because the person is in Ribui Or. A person is not being matzamtzam, the light of the Kodesh Baruch Hu properly. When you think about it, looks like the opposite. I'm in the dark. That's why I cannot. It's all difficult for me. But the thing is like this.
It's the clip is always surrounding the mitzvahs that they're blocking the person.
Yeah, but the question is, the Rabbeinu says here that the first step is control your enthusiasm. So we are looking at it and say, with all due respect, we don't understand what is Rabbeinu talking about. We don't have a problem with over enthusiasm. We have a problem with with laziness. With lack of enthusiasm. The answer is that the reason for the lack of enthusiasm is because we have Ribui Or in the way that we understand what does it mean to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If I ask you, what does it mean to daven? You'll tell me, you daven with all the koiches, and you concentrate on every single word, and you daven vasika, and you wake up chatzos, and you do that's called davening. No, then you look and you're davening, and he says, I can't do that. And you fall off from davening, and you learning Torah. What does it mean to learn Torah? You must. Like Mchad Kayevsky was there at the Gemara in bed. That's called a small. That's called able to learn Gemara, Rashi, Tosfos, this, that, Kabbalah. That's called learning. What are you doing? What am I doing? That's called Ribui Or. It means I don't have the appreciation for what I do, for what I'm able to do. What do you want from me? I mean, come on, let's be serious, okay? Let's be realistic. It's not being realistic. It's Ribui Or. For us to keep away the Ribui Or is dafka to be satisfied with the way we are. And it's a gevaldig avodas Hashem. You can see Sipurei Maisis from the Chacham Tam. That the Tam was always b'simcha. His wife told him, so how come you make a shoe that has 3 corners, and everybody else takes double the money that you take? So he says that inyan shaloi, was that inyan shali. This is mine. And he says, "Well, what do I care?" And he says, I make money. This cost me this cost me that, whatever it is. That was when a person is controlling his fantasies of what avodas Hashem should be. That's not yours. All right, the heart, the father. I mean, you can find plenty of people that wish that they were rich. No, okay. Vada, you should always wish that you should be a Ovid Hashem, because Seichel, Rabbeinu says in Perich Havdalah, that the bracha is always Seichel, that the person, then the bracha comes into whatever it is the person wants and needs. If a person should have the brains, the bracha will be a Seichel. Chochmas HaTorah. The question is that what is the ikr, what is the tafel? It says that the more seichel a person has, he doesn't take the tafel, the unimportant, and makes it important. For instance, take a teacher, a melamed, in cheder. Okay, he says all the talmidim, all the students, the pupils, children, they will learn well and get good grades on the tests. They get a prize. So the talmidim that learn hard, the learning is the how. That's the means. But the goal is to get the prize, right? For the melamed, it's fakir. The prize is the means. The tachlis is the should learn. The children, because they have a small mind, so they do it. They mix the means with the goal. With the end justifies the means. It's like they say. But the Maisa, when these children will grow up, and they will know because they learned and they got good marks, which means they know what they learned, then they'll see that what they thought was just the means was the ikka, the prize. Okay, so I got a prize when he was 7-year-old, big deal. So the same thing is the same when a person gets a bracha in this world. So the question many times is that we're talking about from Jews. I'm not talking about somebody who doesn't know from anything. We're from Jews. We keep Torah mitzvahs and everything is fine. And many times we do it. Some of us at least, do it so that things will be fine. We'll be good children. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will not punish us and will grant us what we want. And we'll have B'ezrat Hashem Gashmius, Ruchnius, Olam Hazeh, Olam Haba. In other words, the Torah that we do, that we keep, is the means. It's a means to an end. But we want a good life. We want a pleasant, cushy life. Olam Hazeh, Olam Haba. Rabbeinu says, Avada, somebody who wants Olam Haba has more seichel than somebody who wants just Olam Hazeh. That goes without saying. But sometimes even this is not good. That you're doing it to have Olam Haba. Many things said that the mitzvah is to do the Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, that the end is doing Ratzon Hashem. The end is not, to get into Gan Eden with a Cadillac. This is not the name of the game. Kodem Abriya. So we said that Tzimtzum Mislahavos is that Yetzer Hara that tells me, Ma Avodah. That doesn't count. That's not called. And we think, we're being enough with that, So the only thing that we're doing is we're wilting. Like a plant that doesn't get water. This is we are. Too much light. We are not curbing the Islavas. In our mind, it's only the Shem. Spend an hour in the feld with this and that, and chatzos and basikin and davening with all the koyach, alavai, breaking time with sachila, shmir sanaim, everything. That's called this lahavus that has to be curbed. To what degree? To the degree that I'm holding. This is what I'm holding. What I'm doing is very good. It could be better. I'll done to do it better. But if I'm not happy with what I do, if I don't start with where I am, I'll only be atzvus. I'll never move anymore. This is machshava source. This is the bad source. It comes from ribuy or. Machshava source says, I'm good. I woke up in the morning, I'm going to shul. How it's going to be, the way it's going to be, I don't know. I'm going to cry to Kodesh Baruch Hu, I'm going to ask him. Things will be okay. Everything will be okay. And this libi chabakiri, and then there's the vacancy in the heart. This is where the midas can be built. And when you look then, you'll find out that the heart is the libi chabakiri, is tzur levavi. This is the same. This is a parallel to the creation of all the olamus. And fakert, when the heart is verstoppt with shtiyot, with shtisim, it's olale, osale. It spoils the bria, as we said before. That's why the tzaddik, that his heart is open in chokhmah, the libi chal v'kirbi, as tzur levavi. That's why the tzaddik can be mechadish masaberations and do nisim v'niflois in olam. So it can make miracles in the world. Moshe Pasuk b'tuvoi, the tzaddik
can make miracles.
Yes, he can create olamas, create miracles. The source says mefurish, lema letzion amiyato, to tell my people, you are my nation. The says, Alter, I think it's also Gemara. It says, Al tikra ami, my nation, ela imi, with me. What I desire says, I create heaven and earth with my speech. That's a verse. Said would be heaven and earth. The tzaddikim also do that. We're a much more sophisticated being than we think we are. We have this tuvam chadash b'cholim tamid masaberations. B'tuvay, that's a tzaddik. Tzaddik is called tov. Imu tzaddik tov. That's the pasuk. Because the heart of the pasuk of the tzaddik is b'chinas brias olam. The tzaddik has the koyach of creating the world. Before we go into, even though this is the the end of the Torah, let's just go and Bezat Hashem. Bezat Hashem will, I think Bezat Hashem will, let me just take a quick look and see what it is that we need to go. Zeh Perush, what Chazal said, Chamukei Rechaim, Yerechaich, shape of your thighs, that these are like hollow tubes crafted by a craftsman, an artisan. Elo ashisin, these are the pipes that were on the mizbeach. Shemenukavim, sorry, menukavim, they're going all the way to the tahim. That means the hainu the libi chalal bekirbi, because tahim, that abyss, endless, daliba, that's the heart, as the verse says. Shemecholim ada tahim, that they are vacant until all the way into the tahim, is the chalal panei in the heart, in which the midas are created. Zeh, Chazal said, chaloi maaseh yedei aman. These are pipes that are crafted by artisans. This is the handiwork of the artistry of a Kodesh Baruch. And what's hinted, there's the Gemara in Sukkah. I don't know by heart, it's just written here. When it says chaloim, it says this tight tubes that go all the way to the tahim. This is a parallel bechina to creating the world. That's the handiwork of the master craftsman. This is the chaloim shemechulalim. Mamish Same way, because Baruch Hu crafted the world, you are crafting the world. This is how a person can perform miracles. And besides, we have inside the home, we already learned, and it says that the home is also, it says the Pchinas Nisim. The home Kala'ir. Naomi, Ruth, Ken. This is the entire town. Everybody was like, they were talking about, wow. It says when there's a miracle, everybody's talking about it. This is when it's a sham. Nisi, Halkul Tvein. Because the throat is parallel to the shisa, to these tubes in the mizbeach. It led all the way to the tehom. This is the heart of the Chachamim, has a proper falafon. This is where midas teves are being created, and the lev is the tehom. That's why the kona, the air pipes that get to the hazapkinas sheeting, that get to the tehom, it gets all the way to the chalosh of the lev. When you give them wine, the wine opens up the heart. And then you're not drinking too much, just drink a little bit. Opens up the heart. That's what Chazal said. A little wine and something that smells good, make a person smart. It opens up his mind. Okay, now that's anybody who fills the throat with wine. It says there's a few little things here that are missing because it wasn't written at the time, and some of it was forgotten. Rabbeinu sums up a little sikha that has to do with this Torah. This B'ezrat Hashem, we will finish this Torah B'ezrat Hashem. It says, Shaykh La'el, Yosis Kegibar Oretz. We said that when Am Yisrael are going into foreign chachmas, what that does is that hides from the tzaddik madrigas. Then, when they find him do tshuva, the tzaddik has to really hurry and do everything he was supposed to do during the time that his madrigas were hidden from him. Kitzorch is Gabras Godel Loretz Arach, to run that way. Now they are running in great speed. The Nosson continues. When Rabbeinu said this Torah, he said that particular thing with a little bit extra explanation. When people go through things. If it's Bala Tshuva people that were fry and then became frum, and people that all kinds of things happen to them during that time, and then they wake up and they want to become frum again. Even though that's to rectify. Oh Hashem, we have the tzaddik with us, and we can be misakim, we can rectify everything that happened. Where is that time we were far from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we could have served HaKadosh Baruch Hu at that time? That has to be fixed as well. That when we were, that we were like pushed away from Hashem. That's why after a person is waking up in tshuva, you have to be very focused. Be very focused in the way and to hurry a lot. The days reasons of the person who's with the intensity of his avodah and the single-minded, focus. The sakim lashlim lachisonim avodah shlamim shavu, to fill up, that time that was wasted. Now you have to run really quickly. All that road that you could have covered when you were away from Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's what Rabbeinu said. Ich darf sich sehr jung. Soll sich kein etwas chappen. You have to hurry. You have to be very. You have to be very focused. You have to be, so you'll be able to chap something, to retrieve something that was lost. Atkan turn.
The opposite of what we said before, though, with we go slowly. And
the same thing is that this is, and Rabbeinu says another Torah, that these are two opposites. On one hand, you have to wait. On the other hand, you have to hurry.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So no, it's not a show. It's a kind of, you need the Yishuv Adas of realizing that you have to be happy with what you are, but you have to be focused on it. Yeah,
you still go forward.
Forward, and you have to be focused on it. You have to be focused on it. This reason we're talking about means a single mind focus.
It says make up the time you lost.
Yeah. How do people lose time? It says yesh koina olam b'sha'ah achas. Sometimes people buy the b'sha'ah achas. When you're really focused, when you're really doing something, Kadosh Baruch Hu says, when they ask Reb Yitzchak, how can we zoche to bracha in your time? So he says through shmiras hazman. If you guard your time, it will give you bracha in your time. If you don't guard your time, where have you got the chutzpah to come to ask for bracha in your time? The time that you have, you're not using. Use your time, guard your time properly, get bracha in your time. If you're being focused, and Jugend doesn't mean quick. It means work. It means focus. It means single-minded. Focused. Bezat Hashem, because Baruch Hu should help us. Yes. And it says, you have to work hard. The main thing is that you have to understand that you have to keep both things. Bezat Hashem, because Baruch should help us. Bezat Hashem, first of all, to daven, tefillah and tes, many times over. That we should remember, it also says in Ilchas Filas Halacha Zayin, we're zecher to learn it. It's a huge halacha. It's almost a whole sefer by itself. It's like 97 simonim in it. Tremendous, unbelievable halacha. It also says that the crux of Yiddishkeit, main point of Yiddishkeit, is keeping away bad thoughts and thinking good thoughts. Sai, keeping away fantasies. Sai, not looking when you're supposed to look. Sai, not judging yourself.
Sai?
And it means this plus this plus this in Yiddish. It means this, and to say nothing of this, and to say nothing of this is Sai. Sai, thinking things you shouldn't think. Side thinking about yourself, things you shouldn't think. Side thinking with the being over the Shem, you have to be like Rabbi Yaakov Meir Shechter. That unless you're like Shmuel Shapir, that's mean nothing. You haven't done anything. No, that's the thing that keeps us down. Zoche B'ezat Hashem, we went through a Torah of Rabbeinu from beginning to end, Baruch Hashem. B'ezat Hashem, next week we'll start with a new Torah, new bracha, new simcha.
Son's going to be 7 in Elul.
Hashem Yazor should be able to take him to Rabbeinu, B'ezat Hashem.
We said no. I need